Hello and a very good afternoon to one and all attending today's session. We are in the final session of the AD Self-Service Plus workshop series, and I am Sharda, product expert in AD Self-Service Plus from the marketing team of ManageEngine. I hope my voice is audible and the display is well and clear. If not, please let me know immediately in the chat box provided. All right. So we are going to be discussing about alerting end users about their impending password and account expirations today, and how you can go forward doing that using AD Self-Service Plus, and the different methods of doing that, different methods of alerting and notifying users about their impending password or account expirations. All right, so we all understand the importance of passwords. We have gone through sessions talking about the importance of the password reset process. We spoke about enrollment with respect to AD Self-Service Plus, why passwords are important and how you can secure access to applications using single sign-on by enabling a two-factor authentication during login. That is a log-on two-factor authenticator. And then the last session was about improving the quality of passwords with a granular password policy. So today we're going to be talking about how to prevent help desk calls, which is our motive, uh, by not only empowering users to password self-service, but also notifying them about their impending password or account expirations, how you can notify remote users so they do not have the trouble of a forgotten password. They do not have to go through an expired account or a lockdown account, and thereby it is not going to lead to a password related help desk call. So today's session is pretty simple. You can make use of the AD Self-Service Plus workshop setup. Log in with the credentials AD Self-Service Plus, which is ADSSP, and the username is ADSSP. The password will be workshop with W in uppercasing. Go through password expiry notification along with me when I'm doing the session to get your insight into how things work, to get a handle over the AD Self-Service Plus UI. All right, so we are going to be talking about notifying users via email, SMS, and push notifications, scheduling password expiration reminders for remote users with specific messages uh, and on specific days, that is specific days and targeted messages. How you can also keep the managers informed about the user's imminent password and account expiration. And finally, keeping track of all that's going on in the user's environment, even remote users included, with the help of built-in reports. All right, so I'm going to quickly jump to the AD Self-Service Plus portal and log in as an administrator. So under the configuration tab is where you can find password expiry notification. This is once again one of the most commonly used application or feature under AD Self-Service Plus, simply because it is something that is necessary for users in all organizations. So we are going to start with setting up a scheduler. So I'm going to leave the name too soon to expire password notification scheduler. I am going to notify users belonging to my organizational unit, and the type is going to be password expiry notification. So one major advantage of this particular feature is that it is absolutely free. So even if you have a limited license period of AD Self-Service Plus, or you do not have an AD Self-Service Plus license and you're still going through trial, once you've configured and gotten started working with AD Self-Service Plus, the password expiry notification setup is absolutely free. So you can work around with organizational units and groups in a particular domain and notify all the users. And this particular feature is absolutely free. So you can still make sure, you can still ensure that users are notified about their impending password and account expiry in spite of not having a live and running AD Self-Service Plus license. So that is one major advantage. You can still avoid help desk calls. All right, so talking about the password expiry notification, you can notify users either for the password or the account expiry. You can notify them via SMS, mail, or push notification. The user needs to have the AD Self-Service Plus mobile application for push notification. The highly recommended method is mail, and the notification frequency can be set right here. So I'm going to set this at daily and notify users during the last 15 days to password or account expiry. And the subject reads password expiry notification. Obviously, the mail content or the SMS content is customizable. You can make use of macros here. So what I'm going to do is add an access URL to the mail and quickly check if the access URL is the same with my AD Self-Service Plus portal. So yes, ADSSP-workshop, HTTP, and the port number is right. So once this is done, I'm going to go to the advanced setting and notify enrolled users only. So I'm going to see which user receives an enrollment, I'm sorry, which user receives a password expiry notification. Also disable or exclude disabled and smart card users because they do not require a password expiry notification. Done. So once this is done, I'm going to save. And obviously this notification runs on a periodic basis, so you can schedule it at a particular time. But what I'm going to do is run it right now and open a new tab and log into my Gmail account. So if you're new to the AD Self-Service Plus workshop series, or you couldn't join us in the previous sessions and you've joined us only today, let me quickly show you what I've done in my organizational unit or my ADUC console. I've created an organizational unit under my name, which is Sharada, and created sub-OUs trying to replicate an organizational structure, which is admin, finance, and HR. So what I've done is sorted users trying to replicate an organizational structure based on their organizational roles. So what I'm going to do now is try and log in to one ID that I already have access to, which is sharda.workshop. Given the credentials and login. So what I've done in the background once again is that created one single email contact for all the users. So the advantage is simply that I can show you all that is happening for all the users under one single mail ID, nothing else. So I'm going to trigger the soon to expire password notification scheduler once again. And check the mails that we are about to receive. Quickly clearing out the inbox so I do not miss out on the mail. All right. So what I'm going to do now is verify this with my reports tab. Jumping to reports, I'm going to take a look at soon to expire passwords for 15 days. And I have about 4 users here: Sharda, Adam, Edward, and Andy. Also taking a quick look at the enrollment reports. So Adam and Sharda have already enrolled with AD Self-Service Plus. So maybe we did not do the configuration right for the expiry notification, which I'm going to quickly check. Or the other reason could probably be that we have not done the mail server configuration right. So it is important to test that as well. It's password expiry notification, daily frequency of 10 and less. Save. I'm going to quickly run this once again. All right, so let me quickly check the mail server settings. So under administrator, under product settings is where you can find server settings, and that is where the mail settings is. Quickly authenticating, and I'm going to send a test mail to check if my server settings is good and running. I'm going to check for the mail in my personal ID. Yes, it is working. The mail server settings is right. I just received a mail, so I'm going to save. And jump back to the configuration tab and try to trigger an email once again and check why I'm not able to receive a notification. Jumping back to my console, yes, there it is. Uh, I'm quickly going to check if Adam and Sharda have received a mail about their password expiry, and yes, they have. Sharda's password is going to expire in a couple of days, and Adam in lesser number of days. You can also see the access URL available right there. In this case, the user can click on the AD access URL that you've provided, log in, and change the password well in advance to avoid a password expiry. So this is the advantage, and this tool is absolutely free. So you can monitor multiple users' password. You can save multiple users from a password expiry. You can avoid multiple help desk calls by simply enabling the password expiry notification tool. So that is how easy it is to keep users notified about their password expiration status. So in this case, only Sharda and Adam had received a notification, but we obviously also want to keep the other users informed about their password expiry. So let me quickly explain the relationship between enrollment and password expiration here as well. So what happens is that if a user has not enrolled with AD Self-Service Plus, the trouble is that even after receiving an even after receiving a password expiry notification, when the user hits the AD Self-Service Plus link, okay, I am going to work this out with the notification itself. So let me show you a demo of what happens if a user has not enrolled with AD Self-Service Plus. So I'm going to edit the scheduler that I just set up and check out the non-enrolled users under advanced settings. So let me notify all the users, and I know all the users whose passwords are going to expire in less than 15 days. So I'm going to run this scheduler right now. Once again, jumping to the reports tab to show you or give you an idea of all the users whose passwords are going to expire. We have 4 users listed here. Let me check if I'm getting a mail for 4 users. Yes, Andy, Adam, Edward, and Sharda. Yes, I have successfully received 4 emails. But let us try and prevent a password expiry for the user Andy. So if Andy remembers his password, it is a very good thing because he will be able to access the AD Self-Service Plus portal, enroll with the security question answers first, and then change his password. So it is important to enroll with AD Self-Service Plus before going through a change password operation. But if Andy does not remember his password, then the user will not be able to log in and access AD Self-Service Plus, obviously. And the next thing that the user will do is go to forgot your password link. So Andy enters his domain name and the domain that he's going to log into. Enter the CAPTCHA, which is an additional layer of security, and continue. So there you go. That is exactly what I was trying to emphasize on. The user gets a message which says that he is required to enroll with security questions. And if I remember the password, I can log in and enroll before being able to change my password. And if not, please contact your administrator. So this situation is definitely going to lead to a help desk call. So this is exactly why we keep stressing on enabling the verification code method of enrollment, which is an enrollment-free password reset process, and also more secure than the security question answers. Also, the other important fact here is that the importance of enrollment itself. Only if a user enrolls with AD Self-Service Plus are they entitled to complete password self-service. So that is how we work, and that is why enrollment is important. So you can make a call there. You can decide which method works better for you, notifying all users or notifying only users who have enrolled. And yes, I leave the individual decision for your organization to you, obviously. But AD Self-Service Plus allows you to notify non-enrolled users as well. All right, so now let us edit the scheduler and look at the case of notifying users whose passwords have already expired. So the message will read, your password is expired on this particular date and time, so please change your domain password as soon as possible. Once again, you can include macros here. I am going to add the access URL, and you can attach files as well, set up a mail priority. So all this depends on the mail that the users in your organization are working with, and if or not the mail has the facility to support all these features as well. So that is something that is important. So this time I am going to run the scheduler for users whose passwords have expired as well. So let me see how many more mail notifications I am receiving. I should definitely not be surprised with the count. So yes, I've received two different kinds of mail here. The password expiry notification is obviously to the set of users we dealt with before. Adam, Andy, Edward, and Sharda. So this is not we're focusing on. The focus now is on users whose passwords have already expired. So not only can you notify users or alert users about their impending password or account expiry, you can also notify users whose passwords have already expired, which simply means that you tell them to change their password in spite of a password expiry. And this is a typical situation that will not work in your native Windows logon. Because if a user's password is already expired, the user has to contact the administrator for a password reset and to gain access to their accounts. But with AD Self-Service Plus, the user has an advantage of going through a forgot your password link and resetting the password. Or, for example, let's take the case of Daniel. If Daniel remembers his password, he will be redirected to the change password page where he can enter the old password, the new password, and go about with the change password operation. But if Daniel does not remember his password, I am going to enter a random password now. There is a message which says your password has expired, so please see your system administrator. So this is not the situation that we want to push users to. So Daniel can obviously go through a forgot your password link and reset his own password instead of contacting the help desk team. And once again, a deadlock because Daniel is not enrolled with AD Self-Service Plus. So the password has already been expired. Daniel does not have access to his account and sadly cannot reset his password by his own because he is not enrolled with AD Self-Service Plus. So this is where enrollment and password reset play a role, uh, complementing each other, I would say. So To avoid password expiry, you can notify users, but you can also keep users informed about their expired passwords. There you can see a list of users whose passwords have already expired. And in that case, at least take the precautionary steps to log in and gain access to the accounts. All right, so I'm going to quickly delete my mails and jump back and look at what more we can do with AD Self-Service Plus. So we saw how to notify users about their impending password expiration via mail, obviously, and we also saw how to choose to notify only enrolled users or only non-enrolled users. And we also saw how to notify password expired users. So what we're going to do now is try and see how we can schedule a password expiration reminder for remote users on specific days with targeted messages. For which, what I need to do is jump to the reports tab and take a look at soon to expire password reports and generate a list for my particular OU. And you can see that users have different days to password expiry. So you obviously do not, if you do not wish to notify users every single day, which is going to be a which is going to be a spam for them, you can notify them on targeted days, on specific days with targeted messages. For instance, if a user's password is going to expire in a day or less, you customize a more stringent message. Whereas if a user's password is going to expire in, say, 15 days or 14 days, the message is more gentle, more of a notification uh, than an alert, more of a reminder than an alert. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick to these numbers. Let me stick to 14, 8, and say 0 and 1. So jumping back to the configuration tab, navigating to password expiry notification, let me add a new scheduler, new notification scheduler this time. Going to name it test. The domain is SSP workshop. I am going to work with the organizational unit Sharda. It is a password expiry notification. I'm going to notify them via mail. And the notification frequency is not going to be daily, and weekly is also for a scheduled time. So say Monday morning at 9 a.m. But we might not guarantee that by Monday all the users will be notified, because on a weekly basis, the problem is that say if the user's password is going to expire in a day or less, there isn't an alert, there isn't what is the right word I should pick? There isn't a seriousness to that kind of a situation. So a weekly notification frequency is advisable if the user's password is going to expire in, say, 15 days or 30 days, depending on the time schedule that you have set. So I'm going to work with on specific days and quickly revamp this. This is available by default. This is highly recommended too. 7, 3, 1, and 0. So on the day and the previous day to expiry, the user is definitely notified. But I'm going to tweak this to 8 and 14 just to check the difference in messages. So this message reads, your password will expire on this particular time. On the 8th day, it will read, you have been reminded already about the impending password expiry. And the day one will say, despite all the reminders, you still haven't changed your password. So you can see how the message is getting more strict, more stringent as the number of days keep reducing to password expiry. So also, you can enable this particular advanced settings for targeted messages, which says retry notification if scheduler fails to notify users on configured day. So this comes into picture when I would like to notify users on day one, for instance, 1 day to password expiry, and say my mail notification delivery status is a failure. Then the next day also the user is reminded about the notification. Also, you can keep your password expired users notified, enroll users only notified, disable and smart card users excluded. So this is up to you. I am also going to send a mail notification status to the user's manager to see if I'm receiving any. So done, and save this particular scheduler. So I've created another one right here. Run it right now to see how many users are receiving a notification. All right, so Sharda has received an a password expiry notification saying please change your domain password as soon as possible. So this is the message that we customized for 14 days, if you remember right. And Edward has been notified saying, in spite of being reminded about your impending password expiry, you still have not changed it. So please do it as soon as possible. So this message is definitely for 8 days. We do not have users whose passwords are going to expire in a day or less. So yes, we didn't get more stringent messages or mails, which is a good thing. So let me now show you about the delivery report sent to administrators. Uh, Let me quickly check who has received it. All right, so under the soon to expire password users report, Andy's report has been sent. So the days to password expiry is 7. So this report is spent in spite of the scheduler that you've set. So this is just a general report on how many days to password expiry do users have. So this is the kind of report the manager will receive. So what I'm going to do is go to Andy. I'm going to ADUC, clicking on Andy, and I am going to check the manager for Andy. So Andy's manager is Adam. And that is exactly why we have received an enrollment notification, because the mail ID that is configured for Adam is sharda.workshop@gmail.com. So this is a mail that is sent to Adam, and it also says that Andy's password is going to expire in 7 days. So this is not this does not come in handy, I would say, when users are in limited numbers, say 2 or 3. But when you work with bigger organizations where you're working with 1,000 user workforce or maybe more, you will have a detailed report on which user's password is going to expire when, and when was their password last set. More details, you can customize this particular page according to how you want as administrators. So managers can also be informed about what is going on with their users and take the right necessary action well in advance to avoid a password expiry or thereby avoid a help desk call. All right, clearing my inbox once again, jumping back to the AD Self-Service Plus portal. Now let us look at how we can create another mail format, how AD Self-Service Plus supports other mail formats. So this is a text that we customize. So what I'm going to do now is clear this one, and what I have here is an HTML file which I'm going to quickly copy and paste it in this particular content. So let us see what happens when this mail is sent. So I'm going to save this. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I needed to preview it. So I am going to preview this mailer right now. And you can see that all I see is text. So I'm going to enable HTML, click OK, and show you how this is going to look once I trigger the mail. So let's have a look at how a user will receive an HTML formatted mail. There you go. You can have a background image, you can have logos, you can customize text, add link. So yes, you can go about working with all this because the AD Self-Service Plus Password Expiry Notifier supports the HTML format, which simply means that you can make your mail look extremely pretty, informative. You can keep users notified, but at the same time do it well with the HTML supported format. So this is another advantage. You can notify users. We support the HTML mail format. So you do not have to customize the text. You just need to add an HTML script in the mail or SMS content. Definitely not SMS, mail content. And the user will receive uh, an HTML format mail. The user will receive a much personalized mail that you can send from your organization as administrators. All right, so we saw how to notify users about their impending password expiration. This works with remote users as well. So if you have users in your organization who are on the move on a regular basis, this feature definitely comes in handy. They can establish a VPN connection and go through a password reset process. We update cached credentials over VPN. We support remote user password reset with AD Self Service Plus. That is one major advantage. You can also schedule password expiry notifications for remote users on specific days with targeted messages. Keep a track of all this and also notify them the next day in case of a failure. You can notify the managers about their users' imminent account expiration. You can also keep administrators posted about what's going on in their environment. Also, you can keep track of all the remote users' password statuses using built-in reports. So that is what I'm going to show you right now. So under user reports, you can customize reports, generate reports, and have a look at users who have been logged out, users whose passwords is going to expire in 7 days or less. You can increase the number as you want, create tabulations, add or remove columns. Um, Let me add the email column. Okay, I didn't do that. So I'm going to say add the email column, save it and generate. So yes, I have a report with the email address. I can also export it as a CSV, PDF and other formats. I can print, send mail or work on more settings. So this is about the soon to expire password reports. The similar thing works with password expired users reports as well. So you do not want this list to be popping with a lot of users. So you can notify the password expired users as well and make sure that they take the right action to gain access back to their systems. Um, we are talking about password reset and change password operations here. So make sure you have secured the password reset and change password operation as well with the help of the logon two factor authentication as well as the multi-factor authentication, to which I'm going to get to very quickly. You can also keep track of users' password resets and change password audits right here under the audit report. Also, the notification delivery report will keep you notified about which user has been notified, how, if it was a success or not. You can filter it based on what kind of notification you've sent. So let me do this for you. A mail notification for password account expiry. And let me see how many users have received it. And I'm going to look only at the success rate, apply filter. So yes, the number of notifications, if it was a success or not, when it was sent, all the details is available right here. You can customize the period as well, select the domains, confine it to specific OUs present in your Active Directory, and at the same time export the report as well. So this is all about reporting that is available with AD Self-Service Plus. You can also schedule reports right here, schedule reports at a particular frequency and time. You also have a complete insight into what is happening right here in the dashboard, especially the main reports that is available. So one reset password, one change password operation, four soon to expire passwords. This is critical. I need to take a check on this. The non-enrolled user list is huge, so this is something I need to look into as well. So yes, a dashboard, a quick view of all that you need to work around with AD Self-Service Plus. So I spoke about authentication and why you need to take care of ensuring that the password reset and change password operations are secure as well. So we support the security question answer, verification code, Google authentication, Duo security, RSA secure ID, Radius authentication, and the latest addition and one of the coolest features that we have is the mobile authenticator, the AD Self-Service Plus mobile authentication. So make sure you do not stick to only the password. You have an additional layer of security or more with the multi-factor authentication. It could be something as simple as a verification code sent to email or SMS that belongs to a user, or a fingerprint authentication with the help of the AD Self-Service Plus mobile app. So in this case, you as administrators are rest assured that it is the user who's going through a password reset or change password operation, and you do not, or you are certain that the user's identity is not compromised. You do not have to go through a security breach or a network breach because of these additional layers of security. So when it comes to two-factor authentication, once again, it is available right here. So under policy configuration, under a particular self-service policy is where you can find login two-factor authentication. You can enable this for Radius, Duo security, verification code, and RSA secure ID, one of these, not everything, because it stands for two-factor authentication. So you can add an additional factor for authentication, a second factor authentication, and you can also exclude this for single sign-on login or SAML login, but I would definitely recommend to not use this option. Please have an additional layer of security even while you have single sign-on enabled. So yes, this is all about notifying users about their impending password or account expiration or already expired passwords, and how you can ensure that you notified users well in advance so they can take the right actions to go through a successful change password or password reset operation, and how that will not lead to a help desk call. How you can not only eliminate help desk calls completely, not reduce help desk calls, but completely eliminate them. And that is the idea of using AD Self-Service Plus in your organization. All right, so with that said, I have come to the end of today's session and I've covered all the said exercises in today's agenda. I really hope that you learned in detail about this particular feature. If you have any questions regarding the session, please keep them coming in the questions tab. I'm going to take time to answer all your questions. And also, if you have any further questions about the application, you can drop in a mail to me. My mail ID is listed right here, sharda@manageengine.com. If you have any issues working with AD Self-Service Plus or any trouble configuring any of the features, you can always contact our support team. support@adselfserviceplus.com is how you can reach out to them. They will be ready to help you anytime during the working hours. And also the video of this particular session and all the previous sessions will be available online. It can also be mailed to you personally. So if you would require a video of this particular workshop series, please drop in your mail IDs in the chat box provided or the questions tab that is allocated to you. And also let us know your honest feedback on today's session and what you're looking forward to with respect to the AD Self-Service Plus workshop series. So we will be coming back with another series very, very soon. With this session, we are coming to the end of the March AD Self-Service Plus workshop series. I'm definitely going to come back with another series very, very soon. So if you have any suggestions, if you look forward to something from our end, please drop in your feedback in the feedback form that will be sent to you, and I can guarantee that we are going to be talking about that in the next session, in the next series. All right, so I would like to thank you once again for being an amazing audience, for taking time away from your busy schedule to be part of this session. It was an immense pleasure to host today's session. Yes, on that note, I think I will be signing off for today and for this series. It was a great pleasure being the host for the AD Self-Service Plus workshop series. On that note, this is Sharda Murthy, product expert in AD Self Service Plus from the marketing team of ManageEngine, signing off for today. Thank you so much.